If you're new around here, we're Chris and Sara. For 2 years, we've lived in our DIY Sprinter van, exploring North America's most iconic places, as well as some of its most hidden gems. Like for many of you, 2020 threw us a curveball, and after lots of adjusting, we ended up purchasing our first home in Chattanooga, Tennessee, about a month ago. We're currently in the process of building out our new van conversion, while also making our new little house a home. Today's video is all about the habits and goals, both personally and professionally, that we're aiming for in 2021. So let's get going.
Here are the habits and goals we're setting for ourselves in 2021. Let's go.
Number 1, phone habits.
As we're looking at our phones right now. So we're Apple users, and Apple actually makes it really easy to form good habits with your phone, and it's just up to the user to implement those opportunities. That's the easiest way for us. That's the way we started on minimizing our phone time.
And one of the big leaps that we took this year, and if you watched our past live video, Sara mentioned that I bought her an alarm clock for Christmas, which sounds really lame.
It's a really cool alarm clock.
It's a really cool alarm clock, and one of the reasons why we purchased this was because it's gonna help us not go to bed with our phones, because we use our phones typically as an alarm clock, and then it's there and you can get on social media, blah, blah, blah. So we purchased this new alarm clock by Hatchco.
Yeah, it's a little pricey, so that's why it's taken us so long to buy it. We wanted this one for a while. Our bedroom in our new house is actually in the western side of the house, and it's got really dark walls. It doesn't get sunlight, so this alarm clock actually sort of imitates the sun rising. You can set it, and there's a lot of different settings on it, to whether you want it to be a 30-minute sunrise or a 15-minute sunrise or an hour. It doesn't just shock you out of your sleep cycle, which is why I hate using alarms on my phone, because I set it really loud in case I miss the alarm. But sometimes I wake up and my heart's just like pounding because the alarms just scared me to death. This is not sponsored. This is just something we purchased by ourselves, and so far we're loving it. Number 2, intermittent fasting. And we're gonna go ahead and say we're not huge dieters or intermittent fasting people. We're not big into any sort of anything like that. About a year and a half ago, actually, we discovered bulletproof coffee, and we really love the whole idea of skipping breakfast but having coffee in the morning. But I can't just do black coffee because it gives me jitters and nausea and all sorts of things. So the butter coffee is sort of like a big trend right now. We put it in our coffee in the morning, and it helps us skip breakfast, and we actually feel way more alert and sharp in the mornings.
Yeah, I'm really skeptical on these types of things. I'm like, am I really gonna feel better? And I will say I do feel better. I feel like I'm able to think clearer.
We do use the Picnic Coffee Creamer. I'll link it down below if you guys are interested in finding it at your grocery store.
Number 3, morning workouts before our first meal.
So once we've had a little coffee, we like to get a workout in, whether that's riding the bike inside or outside or going for a run. But really, we're not saying we have to work out an hour every day. Our goal is just, let's work out more than what we did in 2020. Number 4, saving our best hours and brain power for ourselves before our clients. If you're a client and you're watching this, we still save a lot of really good brain cells for you. But what we mean by that, we like to allow ourselves the capacity to spend our first couple of hours a day working on our stuff, whether that's, coming up with ideas for videos, whether it's writing captions for Instagram or whatever it is. We like to do that while we're feeling really sharp in the morning with our coffee in our system.
Because if we didn't put ourselves first, nothing would get done on our personal projects.
Number 5, daily journaling. I don't know about you guys, but we like journaling, and it's a habit I go through phases of being really good about it. In the past, that's been bullet journaling. It's been journaling random thoughts or ideas that I have throughout the day, pulling out a notebook and just, jotting it down in my phone or something.
There's a lot of thoughts happening. It may not seem like it right now, but there is a lot of thoughts happening, and it's nice to be able to put it pen to paper and just kind of release those thoughts, have them there, and then if you need to think about them some more, great. If not, they're out of your mind and they're on a piece of paper. Number 6, read more.
I've seen, okay, so now everybody's doing those year-end wrap-ups. They're like, I read 100 books this year. And I'm like, I think I read.
Oh, shoot.
I'm not gonna say how many I read, but it was not many. I think our goal is to do more books. And then when we do read books, not just read nonfiction, like read fiction, nonfiction, and memoirs, all sorts of things.
And I want to go ahead and just give grace to both of us and you out there, because a lot of times it's daunting to pick up a physical book and be like, I don't have time to just sit here. Maybe I need to do something while I'm reading. And so I want to include audiobooks into that category.
I think there's something about sitting there and reading a real book, though. That's
There
important.
is. It's something about being present there. But if you're like, hey, that doesn't mean anything to me, I just need to get the information, I want to include audiobooks.
But I kind of want to argue this again because I think audiobooks are easy to do and multitask. And I think part of what we're aiming towards with reading a book is to sit there and be still and to focus on something so our brains aren't just shooting all over the place constantly. And I think an audiobook, unless you're driving down the road, I don't know. I don't want to do it in the workout and just like be all over the place constantly. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Oh, just let me have
So
this one.
who's right? Audiobook or no audiobook?
Remember, I'm the one answering the comments, so be nice. Kidding, don't put that in there.
Oh, by the way, if you're reading something right now and you're like, hey, they would probably really like that, tell us in the comments below, like, what are you reading? What's a good book that we need to read?
Number 7, getting regular sunlight. We learned the importance of this when we lived in Seattle and sun was very limited, and we started noticing depression and just overall pretty unhappy and unmotivated because we weren't getting regular sunlight. In Seattle, when it's raining, there's not a whole lot you can do with that besides buy a happy lamp. And I did buy a happy lamp. If you don't know what that is, it sort of imitates the sunlight, and I kept it on my desk and I would work next to it and I loved it. But now that we're living in Tennessee, we actually do have more regular sunlight than we did in Washington.
If we can't be outside and we're like, you know what, we're just gonna have work here on the inside, we like to try to work near a window. It's just something about it. It just makes you feel a little bit more free. It feels good.
Typically though, taking Kramer for walks and going for run, no, we're not going for a walk. His head just shot up. Typically taking Kramer for WALKS's is our chance to get some vitamin D and a little sunshine, and it really does sort of pick up your mood.
Number 8, streamlining work to make room for the important stuff.
This has been the biggest struggle for us the last year and a half or 2 years since we've started trying to grow Let's BS a little bit. Now that it's slowly shifting from just a fun little hobby to it has the legs to potentially be a real business, like it's got that. We're trying to organize our lives in a way that we can actually grow it as it needs to grow, and we've done a terrible job about that, like answering emails and communication and stuff in the past, and we're really trying to implement systems now that will help us be better business people and be able to better answer your questions, be able to correspond with brands, that kind of thing, as those kind of things start coming in our inboxes more.
So some of the tools that we're using to help streamline some of these tasks called Notion. It's where you can like create spreadsheets and create like a whole planning calendar.
We sort of butt heads on what sort of project management software we like. But a client introduced him to Notion recently, and I actually really like it because I don't like a lot of color. I like it very straightforward and bland and just a lot of different tools in it. So,
no nonsense.
Yeah, no nonsense. So this has worked well for us, and we've both been in there working a lot lately, and it's helping us have a place to just dump all of our information, which is actually, we're looking at our notes right now for this video, and it's in Notion. So we're both sort of in the same thing. We're just scrolling through our notes of bullet points that we want to say in this video. And I just lost my spot.
Surprisingly enough, you may not know this, what has been approved or posted on our YouTube before, we literally film that maybe 2 or 3 days before.
Every now and then we'll get ahead, like a week or so ahead, and then we're like, oh, we're so far ahead, we could take a couple days off, and then we just...
And then every time it just like, we get caught up, and then we're just scrambling to try to get something, and then that ends up making us feel like we're not doing a good job for you, and so we want to be able to plan just a little bit more so we can just put this like final touches on it.
Number 9, no caffeine after 1 p.m. This is not for Chris, this is for me.
Well, technically it's for me because it affects her.
He doesn't get affected by caffeine like I do. If I have caffeine, I used to say like 2 or 3, but I bumped it back to 1 p.m. So I could have 1 cup of coffee maybe after an early lunch or something. But if I have coffee into the afternoon, I will not sleep, and it just isn't fair to him either because I'll just be up all night, and thank you. I'll be up all night talking. Kramer, hush. There's no school.
Number 10, have a set bedtime.
This comes off of the caffeine one, where if I'm not having coffee in the day, it's easier to set a bedtime. So I'm not great about setting a morning wake up time because I need my sleep. Like I need my 8.5 hours of sleep. I know it's a lot of sleep, but I can tell a major difference in my performance if I get less than that. So rather than saying, I'm gonna get up at 7 a.m. every day varies. Like we may be out with friends one night, or we may be, have a really big project that has a really big deadline or something that we're gonna be up late working. So instead of setting a morning wake up time of 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. every day, we're more likely to abide by a bedtime rule. So we set a goal of being in bed by 10 p.m. every day.
Sarah's genius idea to get us to go to bed, because you have like bedtime timers you can use on your phone or whatever.
Those don't work.
But recently in our house, we just installed a smart thermostat. So Sarah's bright idea is at 10 p.m. every night, no matter how cold it is outside, the air kicks on.
At night, you sleep better. Around 67 degrees is ideal. So we have it cut down the house temperature to 67 degrees. And rather than doing it gradually, our unit just like instantly turns on the AC, and it's like this cold burst of air that fills the room. It is a
gust of wind that comes through, and instantly we're like, it's time for bed. Instantly.
Too cold to stay up, you wanna get under the covers. So if you have a smart thermostat, try that out. It's working great for us right now. All right, but those are our 10 habits that we're setting for 2021. And like I said, we may not do every single one every day, but we're trying to say, okay, we're gonna do at least 8 of these every day and hope that we'll do all 10.
At this point in the video, we wanna talk to you about what our goals are for 2021.
Number 1, finish the van.
A lot of you have asked, when are we gonna see an update about the van? You will soon.
You will.
We promise.
We've been working on it. We want to make sure we have enough to actually fill a video up, so it's not just like, watch us install this one board for 10 minutes.
Yeah. What you doing?
I'm spraying adhesive and trying to hold my breath because I'm afraid this can't be good for me.
So there's a lot of little moving pieces happening right now, but we promise a video is in the works and we'll have an update very, very soon. Number 2, keep making this house a home.
Sounds really cheesy when I say that out loud.
And what we mean by that is there are boxes still everywhere, and everybody has told us, oh, it'll be years before you get those cleared.
Take your time.
Yeah, take your time. And that's what we're doing, but we're still slowly making this a home. It's slowly starting to feel like a home to us.
So we've nicknamed our house Base Camp because it's our base camp to kind of go out and rest up and then go out and have adventures. So we want to fill the walls of our house with pictures of our favorite places, Glacier National Park, Savannah, Georgia, just the places we've been in our travels. So we have those little reminders when we are home of the places that we're wanting to go again. So we're going to make it more a home in that way of just making it a place that feels comfortable and familiar for us. But we also really want to meet our neighbors, which is really hard in 2020.
Yeah, not only are we introverts, but 2020 has presented a multiple different problems. There's something about when you reach a certain age, especially after college, and you work at home,
How are people meeting friends?
Yeah, it's a really hard time to meet friends. So that's our goal, is to meet neighbors and maybe convince them to become friends.
We'll see. So far, it's not going well.
Okay. We waved at one and then they went right back in their house.
It's not really bad. No, so we want to hopefully make friends, obviously here virtually, but we're hoping that in our neighborhood that we're eventually going to start meeting people. I think a lot of people have been traveling for the holidays, and I think most of our neighbors are actually college kids. And so we haven't really, a lot of them have been gone for weeks now. Yeah, eventually we'll get there. But It's a lot harder in 2020 to make friends. Sounds really sad. Be our friends.
Please.
Number 3, regular video posting. We're gonna try really hard at this. This is something we used to try and do 2 videos a week. On Wednesdays, we would do FAQ videos where we'd answer questions, usually about van, sometimes about work or travel, but usually it was about van life. And then on Sundays, that's more of our lifestyle or travel or whatever we've been up to. That's like our really fun video. We're gonna kind of get back to that same routine. The FAQ videos we're gonna post on Wednesdays are not gonna be strictly van life. In fact, a lot of our audience has shifted to where not as many of you guys are van lifers, even though it's still a huge part of our life, the traveling, that we know you guys have questions about maybe digital nomad life or first time home buying or whatever it looks like, just traveling in general. We're gonna try to answer those questions in the FAQ. We get a lot of questions in our email inboxes and Instagram and everything every single week. And a lot of times those are repeat questions. And so if we can just release one video on Wednesdays to provide a little bit of information to give you guys value, so you're not just sitting here watching two middle-aged American kids live their lives. I don't know. I can't imagine us being that interesting. If we can provide a little bit of content for you guys so that it gives you guys a little more idea of maybe how we got to where we are or what our process is, or maybe just help you get to know us a little bit better too. That's the goal of the FAQ series. And then we'll also have our van updates as they come. We originally were saying, oh, every week we're gonna have a new van build video. But with things coming in the mail delayed, it's really hard to have a consistent van build schedule. So those will be coming, but those are probably gonna be more like Monday or Friday kind of videos, or maybe they'll just be our feature video on Sunday if that's all we've done that week is work on the van.
Yeah, so. And the reason why we're telling you this is because if we didn't say it out loud, we probably wouldn't do it. And number 4, the most vanity-filled goal of 2021 is finally for our channel to hit 100,000 subs.
And we say all the time, like, oh, numbers aren't important to us. And we try really hard not to look at numbers, but we crossed 75,000 recently. And I think that for the first time we were like, oh, like 100,000 subs is like completely in sight. Like we could
reach it right now.
Not really, it's probably months or years away.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, when YouTubers hit 100,000 subs on their channel, you get a plaque from YouTube. So like 100,000 is this really major milestone for people. And we started doing this because we love it and we still love it. That's why we continue doing it. But I think for the first time, we're like, oh, that'd be a nice goal to reach. So if we keep growing at the rate we grew this year, statistically, we should be there by December next year.
So we're gonna go ahead and tell you right now, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, and ring the bell.
And share it, do whatever, help us. Actually, I feel like we do one shameless plug a year. Like that's our shameless plug.
So that's it, that's our video.
How long was that? Holy moly. That was way longer than it was supposed to be.
I mean, maybe somebody will watch this.
For more adventures on the road and in our new home, be sure to follow along on Instagram and like and subscribe here. It really helps creators like us.